to the National STEM Championship 2023. We're here at Yusof Ishak Secondary School for the wildcard round. Now, for the first time ever, the 12 teams that did not make it through to the semi-finals will get a second chance. But it's going to be a tough fight because there are only 4 spots to claim. Here are the 12 teams competing in the wildcard round. Anglo-Chinese School Independent, Bedok Green Secondary School, CHIJ St. Joseph's Convent, CHIJ St. Nicholas Girls' School, Hwa Chong Institution, Madrasa Al Arabia Al Islamia, Nanyang Girls High School, Naval Base Secondary School, Raffles Girls' School, Springfield Secondary School, Yishun Town Secondary School, and Zhonghua Secondary School. Now, it wasn't easy for these 12 teams to get here. Let's take a look at what they had to overcome. Before our 12 teams arrived here today, they had to battle their way through 3 tough challenges. Different teams faced different challenges, and they varied from figuring out mystery cubes, creating flying machines, understanding tough principles like the Wilberforce pendulum, measuring the mass of a ball sealed in a tube, keeping an egg from cracking, and finally, modeling some plasticine to construct some isomers. Our 12 teams were stretched to their creative limits and STEM knowledge. And although they missed the mark by just a bit to join the semi-finals, they have been given a second chance. It's the wildcard round of the National STEM Championship. In the wildcard round, teams are divided into 3 groups, with each group stationed in a separate room. In Room 1, the teams are Bedok Green Secondary School, Hwa Chong Institution, Madrasa Al Arabia Al Islamia, and Springfield Secondary School. In Room 2, the teams are CHIJ St. Nicholas Girls' School, Naval Base Secondary School, Nanyang Girls High School, and Raffles Girls' School. And in Room 3, the teams are Anglo-Chinese School Independent, CHIJ St. Joseph's Convent, Yishun Town Secondary School, and Zhonghua Secondary School. The challenge in today's wildcard round is called Bingo Me. Why? Because teams are given a set of questions laid out in a grid, much like how numbers are arranged on a bingo card. These 25 theory and practical questions were created by the Singapore Academy of Young Engineers and Scientists, an initiative of Science Centre Singapore. Their goal was to give the teams a set of questions that span across multiple scientific disciplines. Get a theory question right, and that's 3 points. Practical questions are worth 8 points each, but only if teams are able to give an explanation and do the demonstration. Miss out either one, and their points will be cut in half. So it becomes a game of strategy. Limited time versus maximum possible points earned. What will the teams in Room 1 do?
A lot of the questions caught me off guard because some of the questions were questions that I didn't even know existed or would come out.
We try to focus on the questions which we generally had more knowledge on. And as for the practical component, we had multiple people working on them and only had one person present so as to save time.
I think all of the question and practicals posted by this competition is very challenging for us. The most difficult part is the time constraint because we have to answer 25 questions in just 50 minutes. I think caused a bit of panic among us. Hence, creating a force to lift the football up and travel to a further distance.
Personally, I found the extracting DNA from the strawberries the most interesting challenge because it's very relevant in our life today. We've gone through the COVID-19 epidemic and we got used to the PRT test, and I found that the concept behind extracting the DNA from strawberries is really similar to that. There's a buffer, you have to kind of mix it, shake it.
Found the most unconventional challenge was extracting DNA for the strawberries. We were quite clueless when it's asking us to extracting DNA for a fruit.
I crushed up the strawberries, and then what I did was I added the denatured alcohol, then I added the DNA extracting liquid. The practical was one thing, but explaining how to apply the knowledge to the practical was really hard, as we need to use the correct concepts to answer the questions to get the correct marks.
One of the practicals that we didn't do was the extracting the DNA of the strawberries. Yeah, so we're not very sure how to extract the DNA out, so we just didn't do it in order to save time and work on the practicals that we are more confident with instead, so you can gain more points.
I guess the questions were quite creative and it was a combination of different subjects. One of the tough questions was where they had to categorize the different food items according to the glycemic index.
Although some of the teams attempted that question, they only got some of the answers correct. Unless they provide all answers correctly, we couldn't give them marks.
The one challenge that my team and I felt was the most challenging was the paper helicopter challenge, where we only limited to a single piece of paper in order to fold it into a helicopter that could fly. So we had to use our creativity and to find an ingenious way to fold the helicopter such that it could fulfill the requirements set by the judges.
We're off for a quick break, but before we do, let's find out more about this school where the wildcard round is being held. If you're well versed in Singapore's history, you'll know that Yusof Ishak Secondary School is the one and only school on the whole island to be named after our nation's first president. It was opened way back in 1965 by then Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew himself. In 2022, Yusof Ishak Secondary School moved from Bukit Batok to its present spanking new campus, which boasts a learning corridor, e-deck, and smart learning spaces which support the learning of urban farming, coding, and aeronautics. Students here are encouraged to be open-minded and curious, to experiment and be innovative. So it's apt that the wildcard round for this year's National STEM Championship be held here. May today's Yusofians be inspired to be the tomorrow leaders of STEM. If you just joined us, welcome to the wildcard round of the National STEM Championship 2023. Now, before the break, teams in Room 1 had to decide which was the best strategy. Should they quickly attempt the theory questions that are worth 3 points, or go for the practical questions that are worth more but might take a longer time to solve? Was this a dilemma faced by teams in Room 2 as well? Let's find out.
So we're actually pretty excited to be in the wildcard round, and today's questions were actually quite fun because they have more knowledge-based questions and not just practical.
We tried to focus on the practical tasks since those would give us more points, and we also tried to split up our members so that we could work on multiple tasks at the same time and try to answer as many questions as possible.
The intersection between the plastic spoon and the popsicles is the fulcrum or the pivot point. So when a force is applied backwards to the plastic spoon, the rubber band has stored elastic potential energy, and then it's stretched, and then when this force is released, the top part of the spoon is launched forward.
Oh, wonderful. Yours is by far the furthest, by extra point.
With a larger base, it will be able to sustain the force that the spoon exerts, so it will more likely stay up, standing rather than actually toppling down after being launched.
The catapult challenge, they were given a certain number of ice cream sticks, they were given a certain number of rubber bands, but they didn't feel like they were bound by the rules to create a very complicated setup. They just went for the easiest, most workable method, and I thought that was fantastic because that's how you should solve problems. The other was the marshmallow challenge. They were supposed to balance a book for 15 seconds using 5 different marshmallows.
We use all 5 marshmallows for the base and lay on its side, which has the largest surface area, so it distributes the pressure the best. Yeah.
14,000, 15,000, and
the sides and as well as the middle to form the triangles. So it's
usually when we build stuff like that, we use other materials, and that doesn't include food like marshmallows. So it was quite a unique experience, which we found very interesting, and we were able to express our creativity, and yeah, we managed to work it out in the end.
strategy is that we worked on multiple tasks at a time based on our skill set. I'm more familiar with physics, so I explained like the mechanism that had the concept of torque behind it.
Yeah, two, 1 4.
1 4.
1 4, okay.
Okay.
17.
Okay.
Go for it.
Yeah, well done.
Thank you. Wait.
While she was doing like the more physics-based questions, we did the DNA extraction together.
Of strawberry.
So I think the challenge that was most difficult for the teams was this DNA extraction from strawberries challenge. Maybe like the teams have learned about conceptually how to extract DNA, but maybe they've not had the practical knowledge. So not every team that attempted it managed to use all the steps required to precipitate the DNA. But I think Nanyang Girls School performed really well and they managed to get a significant amount of DNA precipitates. I was very impressed by that. Yeah.
Wow!
Yeah, well done.
Well, you know, all the teams were impressive in their own different ways. For instance, St. Nicholas and Raffles Girls, their strategy was just to come up with us and answer every single question that they can. Nanyang Girls took their time, deliberate, and at first we thought that they were falling behind, but then, you know, they caught up in the end. And Naval Base was just, they were just awesome, right? So they were just trying every single thing.
The other challenge that was quite challenging for the teams was the helicopter challenge, where a lot of the teams were building different kind of structures.
Is the wind current caught?
I think... Sorry. Building a helicopter that can glide for 5 seconds in the air, I mean, it wasn't unexpected, but it was quite difficult, more difficult than we imagined.
Unfortunately, none of the teams in our room managed to complete the challenge for that. So I think today's challenges, by virtue of arranging the whole different types of STEM, so from chemistry to biology and physics, it showed the students that science is exciting. We can see it in daily life. It's applicable in many different parts of our life, and that just helps them to cultivate an excitement or interest towards science that I hope they will take through with them as they progress on.
I think regardless of like how far we progress in this competition, we'll definitely be very proud of ourselves because we have already given it our all. And currently our goal would be to get into semi-finals if possible. But as mentioned before, like even if that doesn't happen, we'll be very proud and grateful of this opportunity and experience to work together as a group.
We came in with the mindset that we truly had nothing to lose, so we just did our best. And I think at the end of the day, I think the friendships we've made is the true reward of this. Yeah.
Honestly, we are uncertain about the outcomes of this competition, but we are confident that at the very least we put in our best for this competition, and we just hope that we can make it to the semi-finals.
Teams in room 2 were positive and hopeful of getting into the semi-finals. But we won't know how they will fare until the end of the episode. Right now, let's head into room 3 and check out the teams in action.
Most of the challenges caught us off guard because most of them was not part of our curriculum topics. Most of the questions we had no idea what it was about.
Today's wildcard challenge has helped us to be more exposed to more STEM concepts like biology, chemistry and physics. This helped us to become more curious about the stuff we learn, as many of the challenges we faced were things we have never learned in school.
Instead of doing all 25 questions chronologically, we actually looked through all the questions first and attempted the easiest ones first to rack up as many points as possible. Then after that, we also made sure to complete all the practical ones since they were worth 8 points, which is a lot.
So it works on the principle of elastic potential energy. When you stretch the rubber band, it gains kinetic, elastic potential energy.
What happened to the elastic potential energy?
And we converted the kinetic energy, the turning motion.
One of the ideas we used was to replicate our prototype from the qualifiers, but using different materials that were given today, and it worked.
We follow up KE for us, that's why KB is converted to this KE. It's faster. Yeah, that's further. Okay, thank you.
cannot. It's wrong, sorry.
It's by commodity. Each islands when you take them. Because MS11 everything, it will move up from category action, whereas acidic it will show a line change and how big it's possible. ART and PCR is just the same because COVID-19 test.
I'll say your answer is not complete though.
Is it because when it reacts with the antigen DNA splits and it becomes acidic, that's why a line forms?
No.
Sorry.
No, it's not.
My idea is to try to create as many triangles as I can because triangles are very stable. And this one is a center of gravity. So in case it collapses at the fore end, so there will be one standing there to hold.
And also center of gravity is the place where all the apparent weight seems to act. So as long as that part is like
So
stabilized,
if you put that outside, then it will cause a force.
Our structure, it has like an X structure in the middle to provide more support to our structure because
the marshmallows on its own is not strong enough.
And then it might be unstable. So the marshmallows are spread out evenly. This is for them to make sure that the forces are spread out evenly as surface area affects stability of the book. And this one is in the middle here, they put the CG down so there's a lower CG. It will be more stable as CG shifts towards the heavy. Yeah, okay.
I think the challenge that I feel would be most difficult would be the DNA extraction. Doing the process of the practical is easy, but getting the exact product for the DNA to show it to us, it will not be as easy as it looks.
This solution probably contains a component that one breaks the cells, so it releases the DNA, and two, probably a salt or something that separates the DNA from other proteins and makes it visible. So then the DNA appears to us like this because it is not soluble in this.
Yeah, correct. Completely correct.
Yay, thank you.
I think the team that impressed me the most today would be ACS Independent. They were really excited and they managed to answer most of the questions on our team, and they kept coming up to answer the question one after another really quickly.
Yeah, I was also quite impressed when one of their team members managed to give a full explanation on the real-time PCR question and met all the requirements for the full marks for the question. So I think the one question that I'd like to point out is the helicopter question. One team actually stood on a chair to make sure that the helicopter was in air for as long as possible.
I think we found the challenge which involved the paper helicopter rather unconventional because we needed to use paper to construct a helicopter, and we tried the conventional approach, which was to fold in the way that we did. But unfortunately that did not work because we were only able to sustain flight for 4 seconds and not 5. So it was quite a rigorous demand for the thing, and even though we didn't make it, I'm still glad to say that we tried and we got quite good timing.
We're looking for comparison with other scans, so not with other...
We all found theory questions quite challenging because we might know some part of the questions, but the main part, the main key point to get to the answer, we may not know, so it was quite challenging for us.
I think STEM is quite important for young students, not only because of the content that it offers, but also the soft skills that comes with it, such as when learning mathematics, it actually trains your analytical skills.
STEM education is definitely relevant. It trains analytical thinking, gives you broad knowledge of the sciences and engineering in our world, gives a reason for why things exist the way that they are. So, and this is definitely applicable whether you're going to be a banker, whether you're going to be a medical practitioner or an engineer, right? So, and I think these are all definitely skills that you can take with you for life.
And now, all 12 teams have had their second chance to qualify for the semi-finals. Which 4 teams will amass the most number of points in the wildcard round and make it? Find out after the break. From building catapults to making tables out of marshmallows and toothpicks, our teams from the wildcard round embraced today's STEM questions with passion and innovation. Now that everything is done and dusted and our judges have carefully tabulated the scores, I can now announce the results from the wildcard round. The top 4 teams making it through to the semi-finals are
Anglo-Chinese School Independent,
Hwa Chong Institution, Nanyang Girls High School, and Raffles Girls School. Congratulations, teams, you've made it! Without further ado, here are the 16 semi-finalists in this year's National STEM Championship.
Anglo-Chinese School Independent,
Hwa Chong Institution, Nanyang Girls High School, Raffles Girls School, Catholic High School, Chongqing High School, Maine, DPS International School, Global Indian International School, East Coast Campus, Methodist Girls School, NUS High School of Math and Science, Raffles Institution, River Valley High School, St. Joseph's Institution, School of Science and Technology, Singapore, Temasek Junior College, and Victoria School. To our 16 teams who have made it through to the semi-finals, all the best. The challenges are just about to get tougher and the pressure more intense. But it wouldn't be the National STEM Championship otherwise, right? So keep cheering and supporting our semi-finalists as they embark on their exciting journey of discovery. In the meantime, I'll catch you at the semi-finals. See ya!